Hi, I'm Joe, and this is my new Tennessee home. I'm kind of sad. I just looked at the 10-day forecast, weather forecast, and next Saturday, 6 days from today, we're supposed to have 36 degrees. If that 36 materializes in a frost, these beans will be history. Not to mention, I'll need to dig up my sweet potatoes before that happens. And this is what's really sad. We've been really windy and it's blown my Roselle sideways. And there is no way, if it started blooming today, it would not have time to make seed heads. So I think it's probably, even though they grew really nice, I think it's going to be a bust for these this year. And the chia, it's not doing very well either. It's not trying to put on flowers. Both of these things are light dependent, you know, like they won't really fruit or flower until the days get shorter. And evidently they're not short enough. So chia looks like it's a bust here in Tennessee too. I tried to grow it in Indiana and I never could get it to make. So I don't know. I mean, I did get Roselle to bloom, one of them to bloom last year. Only one bloom, and it didn't have time to make a calyx. So I'm thinking that I may not waste space and my time on these. They're such a it's such a gamble. And it's been so dry. I mean, we'll get a rain and then we'll go 2 or 3 weeks with no rain. That I cannot, for the life of me, get beets to germinate. I mean, I've tried and tried and tried. I finally got, I think these, I'm not sure if these are, I think these are mustard. I got mustard to germinate. But I can't seem to get beets to germinate. Beets or turnips, either one. And look at this monster, this bad mamma jamma. It's awful pretty. I'm probably not going to take up this much space in my garden for these again either. This is a castor, mole bean, castor bean. They're poisonous and you don't eat them. They're just kind of deter moles and burrowing insects. Or burrowing varmints, but I think they're pretty too. I may plant some of them out, maybe a couple out in my flower garden, because they are pretty. This is my other batch of Roselle, and as you can see, ain't nary a bud on it nowhere. If it blooms or it doesn't get bit by the frost and it warms up a little bit, maybe it'll make, but I just don't have much hope for it. Yeah, my okra didn't do very good this year either. There's a spindly little okra plant, and there's another one down there. It's got a pod on it. I'm kind of over that. And then I've got my bean tunnel. It's still putting on beans. Look at this. What do you think you're doing on there? Get off her. Get off her. Get off her. Get off her. Oh, I didn't want to go over there. Yeah. So I don't use pesticides. I have used, there you go, down on the ground. I've used neem oil once. But for the most part, I just try to pick off the vermin. Now these, looky here. Looky here. This is the scarlet runner beans. I let them all go to seed, and we'll collect seed, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of seed. And next year, I'm not going to put them in a production bean trellis. I'm going to stick them on a decorative trellis somewhere, so they can just take their time, because they take forever to put on beans, and then they're not really, I don't think they're good for eating, but they are pretty. But that's my bean tunnel. Here's what I've had trouble with this whole year. I mean, you walk through the field, and if I had a big old butterfly net, I could catch thousands of these things. They are so annoying. Anyway, still got kale and collards down through here, over there. They'll probably overwinter for the most part, unless it gets down into the teens, and then I might lose them. And I still have some tomatoes that are hanging on, which is pretty impressive. And then this is my Christmas Lima bean, and it's putting on lots of pods, but they're not filling with beans, so I don't know if it's got time to produce much. See, a lot of them just kind of aborted. That bugger is just, I mean, it didn't put any beans in there at all. And I've seen lots, and look at this. It's clear out here. I've seen lots and lots of bees in there pollinating, so I know they're getting pollinated. I mean, I even tend to clear them a spot to get into the flowers, you know. These leaves get real thick and they can't get in if the flowers are deeper in. These are right out here on the surface, but I'll take this one off so the bees can get to it. Anyway, and this is a chia right here. And I had high hopes that it was going to bloom, but doesn't look like it. I think I'm just out of luck with chia. I mean, I guess maybe I think the greens are edible. But I didn't want greens. I wanted seed. It's really aggravating. Yep, I don't think it's going to bloom. Anyway, this is my new Tennessee home. And, and I got, let me show you. The goats have gotten out. The girl goats, they've gotten out like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times in the last week. They got out night 4 last, just right after dark, and I tied them out. They've gotten out a time or 2. They're, they live down there, and they were doing really good, but I put the baby down there with them, and they started getting out. So my I have a Premier 1 charger, and it doesn't do well if you've got any kind of weeds. I mean, I can't keep all the weeds off of there, so I broke down and bought me a high-powered AC charger. It's a 25-mile charger, and it'll burn weeds, and I dare them to touch that fence now. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Oh yeah, and I've been collecting acorns like crazy. These goats, I'm going to give them probably a handful of acorns a day this winter. You don't want to give them too much because of the tannins, but they're perfectly capable of eating a handful of acorns. Deer eat them all the time. And they're good for pigs too. But so I'm going to add acorns, and then I've got sunflowers, and I put up a whole bunch of hay, and I have stockpiled some grain for them, and hopefully I have enough for the whole winter, because the prices are just going to keep going up, and I really can't afford it. Anyway, now I'll talk to you later.